Whoa, we're here, we're live. It's the
Well,
thought bubble,
hey!
but again, but new, but here on YouTube.
This is how I find out that I do not have the stream muted on the YouTube band. Oh, fuck. Oh no. Give me a second
Well,
here.
also, before we even get started with the show proper, because I want to let some
Yeah.
people trickle in as well.
Mhm.
I think our last stream that we did yesterday, I don't know if I had low latency as a setting turned on. So we're gonna see how low this latency is now, because I have
You
it
know
on
what? I'll turn
ultra
back
low
on the volume just to
latency.
say. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Ah. God, of course, now the controls are finicky. There we go. And sound test. Oh, okay. It's only like a few seconds. It's really not bad. I don't
That
know
wasn't even
how.
like
It
2 seconds. If you
it,
were reacting to yourself saying sound test, that wasn't even like a second. That's
No, it
great.
was like something I said just before that, but it was like
Oh, okay.
under 3 to 5 seconds. I will also
Yeah,
say
that's not bad.
it was definitely more noticeable yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was stuff that felt like it happened a week ago that I was watching on stream yesterday as I was watching the feed.
Yeah. Well, today we're gonna be doing better on that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if anyone chats, but on that note, actually, I should probably share the link a couple more places. Give me 2 seconds. Don't click away.
Don't touch that dial. I I don't know why I've never said that, but it feels really cathartic that I got to say that in something. I feel really good about that.
Hell yeah. Okay. Going back into OBS.
Bring out my
Okay.
inner corny Collins.
So yeah, hey, welcome to the Thought Bubble. This is our first episode again. This is our third first episode. Um,
I thought this was our second first episode. What was our?
no, our first
Oh
episode
no,
was in
you're right.
banter.
Yeah, yeah. I forgot
But how
I
quickly
forgot that
we
we had.
forget.
Well, no, I forgot. I remembered us being in banter. I forgot that there was like a whole reintroduction when we switched to just Twitch, and
Yeah.
so yeah. Anyway.
And now that this episode is going to be, saved in perpetuity,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be good to do another first episode and reintroduce ourselves. So hello, I'm Ashley. I am comedian, pharmacy technician, streamer, a bunch of different things. Those are the main three. You want to introduce yourself?
Hey, name is Mystery Steve. People call me Stevie. I'm an improv comedian, as the main thing people know me for. I am a cartoonist and an amateur voice actor, and that's trying to think if there's anything I'm missing. No, I think that's it. Sometimes a producer of VR events, of which much of those I also do improv comedy in. Yeah.
Yeah, gosh, I need to start doing more things again. Hopefully, soon my comic book podcast is coming back. I need to get with the co-host of that. That'll be very fun to get back into because I've actually like started reading comics properly now, so it'll be like a new era of that show. Um, but yeah, so Thought Bubble, what the fuck is this show about? It is about whatever we end up wanting to talk about. A lot of times it ends up being kind of our pathway through becoming better in our lives, because we've talked about things
Mhm.
such as like yearly themes, our habits, things we want to change and see do better in our life, which I don't think was necessarily the original intent of the show, but it is what it is now.
Actually, I would argue no, I because I think we started it inspired by the productivity podcast that you were talking about,
Yeah.
and we wanted to do that, but then we ended up for like a bunch of episodes just talking about other bullshit that we care about, which is not beside the point of the show, and so we dropped that, but then ended up picking it up again anyway, just because we were picking up our own lives and ended up talking about that. I think is kind of how it went. And so, good to see you, Pixel Latte.
Hi,
I don't know if
Pixel.
I recognize you from one of the other chats. So yeah, good to see you. Hi, hi. Um, but yeah, uh, yeah, this is where we talk about what we might talk
Yeah.
about things deeply, deeply important to us, of which we have done before, like political matters a few times, but also we'll just like for 45 minutes on end have a complete nothing argument from time to time. We just had one about tea
Yeah.
about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, that one doesn't need to go to air. Anyway,
I, as if
um
that's any more ridiculous than shit we've talked about on already existing episodes.
anyway, one thing I wanted to start out the show with is, yeah, we've been gone for like a month.
Yeah,
Through so many different things. I don't know how much you want to talk about things that stopped you, but what I want to talk
you go
about is
first.
my fucking
Yeah,
computer being dead for a month.
yeah.
Um so it was almost like a month and a half at this point. My computer, I came home and it was just fucking off and would not turn on again. And I would press the button, it would flicker on and immediately turn off. So I was like,
Oh God.
I don't know, don't know anyone who is a professional about this other than the people at the Geek Squad at Best Buy, so I took it up there. And they tested everything over a couple of days and was like, "Oh yeah, your motherboard's just dead." And so made me pay for a motherboard. They installed it. It worked for like a week, and then my computer died again. And
Oh.
when I took it back this second time, a different person was doing it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I tested your power supply," which they told me they did the first time and that it was fine. But they were like, "Oh yeah, we tested your power supply, and it was sending more electricity through the system than it should have been and frying everything." And so I needed to get a new power supply, a new motherboard, and a new CPU. Basically, the only thing that still
Jesus
works in this
Christ.
fucking computer is the graphics card. Like everything else is new.
Ship of PCS.
It is fucking horrendous. It does the RAM as well, I guess. It works. One of the fans. But it is now fixed. It is working for the past what, 2-3 weeks? 2 weeks. And hopefully it'll stay that way. The only thing I don't like, so I had to get a new case because they didn't have a motherboard that fit within my old case. I had a mini ATX case and they only had an ATX motherboard, so it was too big. So I went to this random fucking computer parts store that was run by what seemed to be only one person. I was like, "Do you have an ATX case?" And they're like, "I have like most of one." And so right
What
now,
the fuck does
I
that
I
mean?
have an ATX case without a side panel.
Oh my God. That,
And it's
just let you put some
fine.
fucking you put some cling wrap on it.
It's fine. I just need to clean it out more, and hopefully after the holidays, I'm just gonna get a new case anyway.
Are
Just
you
don't have
just
the
running
money
your
for it
computer
right now.
without the fucking side panel?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, sure.
It is so where I put my computer is the very top of my desk, which my desk has like 3 layers. It has like it's an L-shaped desk. It has one part of the L lower than the other, and it also has this like drawer system hovering above the side of the L. And so I put my computer on top of that. So literally,
Okay.
unless I throw something into my computer, nothing's getting in the computer.
Okay.
It's not like it's sitting right next to me and I could just like throw my drink into it. No.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say you probably also dust more often, so you're probably good. But
Yeah, it's not
yeah,
dusty.
I
So,
could
and if it
also
does, like I'll see it immediately and get it.
I but yeah, I also you said one side of your L-shaped desk is taller than the other, and I
Yeah.
don't think I could do that. That sounds weird as hell. Like if it works, it works. But that
No, it's really good
it
for like, so the higher up part is where I have my monitors, and then
sure.
to my right, which like this, it's just like a little divot down and creates a drawer space under the first part of the L, and then there's just like little extra bit of desk that I end up using if I'm like writing or something, or if I want to use my iPad as a laptop for a little bit, I'll put it on that
That's kind
part,
of fun.
and I'll just lower my chair down because it is like a little high anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm glad you have everything duct taped back together and
Works
that
out.
your situation's all comfy cozy. Yeah.
It is, and during that all of that time, where
mhm.
I just didn't have a computer, a lot of things have happened since our last episode of this show. We're not going to get into a lot of it, but one of the things that I wanted to touch on was Twitch's new policy regarding political speech. And that is the
Right.
thing that started me out on like maybe I should switch to YouTube. And there's a bunch of other reasons YouTube's great.
Mhm.
But Twitch being like, hey, don't talk about, like gender and like identity politics. And I'm like, but that is my life. So we're
Exactly.
moving over here. It is a thing we talk about not irregularly. So
It's
it's
part of our lives. Like
yeah,
it's just irresponsible to ask like queer, trans, people on any kind of platform where they're just supposed to talk about shit. Which YouTube is the broadcast yourself platform. Like it's just not realistic to ask them to like not talk about this part of their life that's going to become a massive part of it if they interact with anybody outside of their deepest inner circle. And even then, it's like it's a topic, it's a thing.
yeah.
It's not always bad, yeah. And most of the time, it
And
isn't. It's only bad when people make shit about it, yeah.
And in looking into the swamp, I found out there's a lot of cool things about YouTube. Real people existing, LMAO, they can't handle it. Yeah, we're not allowed to
Yeah.
exist. I can't handle it, to be honest. Anyway,
What even are my pronouns? Yeah.
another good thing. Look, that also happened over the break.
Oh yeah, I forgot because I know I'm
We're
gender
not
fluid. I
talking
don't.
about it.
Okay,
Anyway.
okay, fair, fair, fair.
Anyway, just peep my my pride flags. You'll figure it out. Anyway, um,
Just as a secret code, like a barcode.
another is a good thing about YouTube. One, these streams are going to be kept in perpetuity for as long as YouTube keeps everything, which I'm sure they're going to just keep everything. So people will be able to come back, listen to this. And I do, it didn't happen for the last stream. I just don't know if I didn't toggle the setting, but I explicitly toggled it this time. Hopefully the chat replay will stay forever as well, which isn't necessarily a thing even on Twitch. Um, Even if you
Isn't?
do save your broadcast, sometimes like if it's an old enough broadcast, the chat will just go away.
Hmm.
Um, but as far as I know, which I haven't really looked into it too hard, but YouTube doesn't do that. YouTube keeps it. Um, it'd be weird for them to draw the line at like, no, we're not. We're gonna keep all of the heavy data of your video, but not the small data of your chat.
Yeah,
That'd be
it's like
strange.
it's timestamps and text. That's it.
Yeah,
It's I could probably like pick any like I don't know. I don't sorry, the first name that came to my mind, I don't want to say that name, but like pick anybody that's done a lot of streaming with a chat. I don't know. Hassan Piker or fucking the fucking what's his name? Pirate Software. I am quite confident that if I downloaded the entirety of their chat history, both of them onto like a USB thumb drive, I could probably find one big enough at fucking Staples for $10. Like it's
yeah.
it's not a lot of data.
Um, yeah. Other things that are cool about the YouTube platform. Analytics are a little bit more deep and clear about things. There was another thing that like I found last night while looking at everything. I don't know. Just YouTube's cool and it's where everyone's already watching. So I get it doesn't really
Yeah.
you don't have to go to Twitch. The only thing that's negative is I am a Twitch affiliate, but I wasn't really making money anyway on it, so it doesn't really matter.
You were making
Um
quarters of a cent on every single time that I that I streamed with you, just because I would watch the ads just to watch the just to watch our stream feed. Yeah.
yeah, so um moving on to another topic that I want to get to sooner rather than later. And I know you have your own
Sure.
topics, but it's my show. Anyway,
Okay.
um because our show has ended up being a lot about kind of like self-improvement, things like that. For people that are listening to us for the first time, don't really know everything, Um, a thing we do is yearly themes. And for anyone that doesn't know what a yearly theme is, when New Year's comes around, you're trying to get your resolutions in order. You're like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym more, or I'm going to read X amount of books, or, this thing is going to happen. I'm going to make this one goal happen. And it never fucking does. Yearly themes is a way to kind of combat that failure of resolutions in not making a specific goal for yourself over the year, but painting a picture of where you want the year to head towards. It's focusing the compass on your new north. And so this year, you want to go over yours first? Because mine was all over
Uh,
the place this year.
yeah. So it's extremely ironic that mine's the one that stayed the same and that I will be continuing. Because so now you said that, because I don't know if you just said this now, but I remember you said if you keep it as like vague and general as possible while still matching the goals that you have, that's kind of the ideal of a yearly theme, which I think is very important because it's like people can get too hung up on the specifics. Because I'm quite a change averse person, I get all prickly and scary in the presence of change. That's my yearly theme. That's what it's been the entire time. It's change, you know. And there's a whole lot of like I know what I mean kind of values there, where it's like, oh, like changes in like tiny ways of like what tiny thing do I want to pick? Like even just like, hey, if I'm sitting down to like watch some YouTube, it's like, oh, I more, instead of just relying on it as like a thing to keep me company because I don't want to be without it, social media addiction and all that. It's like, oh, um I'm going to change whether I just like watch the first thing that even vaguely catches my interest, and I'm going to change whether I keep watching it even past enjoying it, but also like little quality of life things that I would have ignored before. Like I have a different desk now, which is thousands of times better than the desk I was at before. Um it is also an L-shaped desk. I think one of these sections is almost the size of the entire other desk I had, and it was way too cramped for what I was doing with it. Um, uh, also, just one of my. The funny thing is, like, my top topic for today is is actually like one of the bigger, massive changes, but it's also changing how I react to like my own emotional responses to things, because yeah, there's a lot of conflict in myself that I tend to avoid, especially in terms of making things. Like if I'm drawing, if I'm having to look back on anything I made, so I can like record things, but I have a difficult time editing them for both technical reasons, frankly, but also emotional reasons, because of self-esteem issues. And so just changing my internal dialogue and changing how often I open up to people because I'm not used to doing that. And yeah, that's like kind of yeah, that's most of it aside from my first topic for today. But I'll wait until you say yours. In terms of
Yeah.
yearly themes.
And Pixel Latte saying self-reflecting and improving, even something small, is always a great goal and really helps. Yeah, I do want to
100%.
stress that yearly themes is not a goal-oriented system. It is explicitly anti that. Um, but like having goals is also a good thing in general. But don't necessarily choose your yearly theme because you have these goals. It is a kind of vibe you want to give out rather than, oh hey, I have these goals and it kind of fits this word over here. um because one thing that this has been your first year for yearly themes, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
Yeah.
This is not
I
my
didn't even
first.
know
This is
about them
like,
before. Yeah.
this has been a long time I've been doing this. I don't even remember all the yearly themes, but I think my first one was Year of Health. And originally that was just meant to be kind of like, I wanted to eat healthier, I wanted to, get more fit. And it ended up with me going to therapy, and mental health taking a priority over it. And that, I think, is a perfect example of why you don't want to make resolutions, because my resolution was to lose 50 pounds or eat a salad every day or something like that, it wouldn't have happened and I would have failed and I would have felt bad about it. And I probably wouldn't have even thought about going to therapy because my mind wouldn't have been in that kind of looking for what I'm doing um, mindset. But since it's the year of health, I didn't lose 50 pounds. I don't eat salads. But I did do a good job that year in improving my health in many other ways. Um, and it's like another example that isn't mine was the year of reading. And that is kind of supplanting the goal of, oh, I want to read X amount of books. And what could happen, what happened to this other person was they didn't end up reading a lot of novels, but they read more magazines, they read more comics, and that wasn't what they set out to
Sure.
do. But it is still a win, and that is why I think yearly themes are so potent. This year was not a good example of everything for me. That's why I gave good examples before this one. So I started this year, the year of order, didn't happen. It's been chaotic as fuck, and it is going to continue being chaotic as fuck. Um, I think that maybe lasted a few months before I was like, throw in the towel. I got to figure out something else. And God, what did I change it to? It was the year of forward. I wanted to move forward in a lot of my goals,
Yes.
and that did happen. I ended up getting promoted to
World's
pharmacy
greatest
technician in
pharmacist.
training. Yeah, pharmacy technician in training. Um, I've done more streaming. Um, I've moved forward relationships with people. A lot of different things. And I am having had started and kind of just continuing for now and hopefully through the next year is my year of breadth, which is me trying to widen my horizons in a multitude of different ways because I feel like I've been kind of like narrowed down in a lot of ways. One of the things was I have started drinking coffee, which I never would have thought I would do, but it happened to come up in the year of breath. I was just like, well, I kind of want to try coffee. It's the year of breadth. This is me opening my horizons. Even if I don't like it, I'm going to try it. And I do end up liking it. Um, so yeah, that's mine now. You said you're going to continue it onto next year, or just for
Well,
this through this year?
I want to say one last thing before I answer that question about it. Another thing about because you said it being goal oriented is kind of the antithesis. So one really important part of the change dynamic is it's not just that I wanted to change things because I'm a person who really keeps things the same way if I could possibly hold on. Oh, okay, sorry. There was a test of emergency alerts on my phone, and I'm like, what is going on? Like,
Oh
I don't know if you
no.
heard the buzz. No, it just said it was a test right at the top. I'm like, now is when this is happening. But anyway, yeah. So it's not just that I wanted to change things, because I've needed a lot of change, but it's also, oh, if you're trying to change something, but it's not working out and you need to change the thing that you're changing. Maybe if it's you're on the same path but need to take smaller steps so that it's easier for you, so that it's sustainable for your life. Or if you need to change the thing entirely, because for a lot of people that want to change something big in your life, it's like it very easily falls into a sunk cost fallacy, whether it's about time or money or what have you, because it's like, oh, I already started trying to change the thing, and this is part of this new me, but it's like it it's only worth it if it serves you, and if you figure out it's not serving you, that's the thing that needs to change. Maybe it wasn't in the way you wanted it before, but now you know it's not the right goal, and you just keep doing that, hopefully not too many times, until it's like, oh, now I feel like I've truly listened to myself and I'm headed towards the right thing. And usually that thing will be will be at least as fulfilling and nourishing for your emotions and your soul as the change to it was, it hurt in some ways. But yeah, in answer to your question, I am absolutely following it into next year. And part of the reason for that is because I did not have the right idea about it in the first half of this year. I will happily admit that. because that last part, that little piece that I just added at the after you said yours, um, I really didn't have that in mind, and I was still in the same because before these yearly themes, if I wanted to change something, it's like, oh, now you have to change it. What the fuck is wrong? You need to get yourself in gear with this. You need to, there is XYZ reasons why all these things need to happen. Um, or why it's like this is so important to you. But it's also like, yeah, I did not leave a lot of room for changing based on my comfort with the change. And so starting in about June is when I'm like, oh yeah, part of the change is I really need to take it fucking easy on myself. And I think that was part of what impacted my ability to even, like, again, look back at things that I had already done. And I think, honestly, that my year of change, um, like, involved with it is how comfortable I am with the fact that this is going to be put on YouTube permanently, because there was a level of comfort in the finite, fleeting, never going to be seen again if you didn't personally record it, kind of thought bubble episodes that happened before. And it's like there's a certain security to that where it's like, um, you know, basically, because if you're a paranoid person like me, like, it's like, oh, you fear maybe like someone will be listening back and take something you said out of context or misinterpret it or hold you to it when you don't believe it anymore, and I think that's kind of just based on the fear-mongering state of the internet. And that's just like one of the small things. It's like now I'm like, I think I'm just more secure in myself. And frankly, I want to have more stuff to look back on, of stuff that like that we've both done that, and it makes me happy, and it feels tangible. And this is a change that serves both of us in many ways. And so, yeah, it's like, I just intend to do much more of the changing. And some of it, I know that I don't yet know what it looks like. Even if I have ideas, some of those will not, stay on the same road. And that's okay, as long as you trust your instincts and look in yourself for what you need.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good shit. Just to throw out a couple more examples of ones I've had in the past. I've had both the year of more and the year of less. One a direct reaction to the other. I'll let you figure out which one.
It could really, really,
um,
really be either.
Another one that I know another person's done was the year of people, where they wanted to have more personal interactions with people, and choosing to go out of their way to make those happen because of the yearly theme surrounding them all year. It's a great system. If anybody in chat ever picks up a yearly theme, I'd love to hear what it is.
Same.
Go put it in the Discord.
Yeah, Discord or
Which,
YouTube chat, either one works. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm not expecting anyone to right now to be like, oh yeah, here's my theme.
What the fuck is your yearly theme? Now!
Give me a yearly theme.
Be at peace with yourself. Figure out what you want now!
No pressure, but now. Anyway. You also have topics that you want to talk about.
Absolutely.
There we go. That's
I
a good
appreciate
theme.
all caps. Yeah, it's insert a theme here. I want a theme, and that's gonna be my yearly theme. Yeah.
I love the year of giving Ashley money. That's a great theme.
I love the year of tip jar. So
I love the year of my PayPal link.
I love the year of this episode is sponsored by. No,
Raid Shadow Legends. Let's go.
oh god, are they even still around?
I have no clue.
I don't even care at this point. But yeah, so I've been super excited about. I started this in the gap between the past episodes, and holy shit, is it working for me? Though it's a
Yeah,
gradual
the
process.
year gap between our episodes.
Habitica. Sorry, I'm taking off my coat at the same time as talking. I should have done this while you were talking. But yeah, anyway. So Habitica, if for those who don't know, is an app and it also has a fantastic web client, by the way, which does not apply to all apps of this kind. It's an app for gamifying your life, which Ashley knows, and anybody who's already listened knows. Uh, I'm not a huge gamer. I like gaming culture. I've grown up with like, hearing people who I like, entertainers talk about video games, show off art and stuff about video games. But it's like in terms of actually playing them, there's like not a lot of my life that's spent with a lot of different ones. And so it's like I don't have a hands-on much of an attachment with gaming in that way. I'm very specific, usually arcade-based stuff. But Habitica basically frames the things that you want to keep track of in your life in a basically RPG sort of arrangement, where like stuff that you want to make a more consistent habit in your life, hence the name. You can have like tickers for that. There's a habits section, there's a daily section, and there's, I think, I could just bring it up, like a to-do section as well, and then also a rewards tab after that, where basically excuse me, yeah, you just keep up with like how often you're doing certain things you want to keep track of. If you want to start a new habit, you give yourself points for it. You can have ones with a positive or negative side, to where like, one that comes with it, depending on what you set it for, is like eat healthy versus junk food, and you can put like a negative ticker that ticks off your health. You got a health bar in it, and a positive ticker, which the side for that one is eat healthy, and that gives you XP, and later on it can give you mana, and it's more forgiving than it sounds. It's like because once you level up with your XP, it completely replenishes your health. And yeah, so especially because I've lived with a lot of depression, and so it's like difficult to like with certain responses in my brain, it's difficult to get enough dopamine. That's the word. And it's also like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I don't consciously ignore when it comes to maintenance. I'll admit that. Of just parts of my life sometimes, and I keep track of them in here, both so that like there's an easy way to keep track of them and tick them off, but also like, it's a reward system. If my health bar is doing well because I fed what goes into that health bar, it means that like even if I don't personally feel like it in my head, I have something to appeal to go, hey, you're doing well for yourself. And the thing that for me this lives and dies on is the fact that, because with other apps, with other like systems I've tried like this, like, I don't know, people have mentioned to-do lists before. I don't just put on here stuff that I want to do and don't already do. Stuff that's like really difficult for me, because then the whole thing would be insurmountable. Also stuff that's like easy, like drinking water, because sometimes I just forget, and it's not like it's not a task I have a lot of trouble with. Of course, it's drinking water, but I give a little ticker for it as a little bit of, hey, that's still a good thing for you, even if it's not super difficult. Socialize. That's a thing that's, I could just walk into a place and just have a short conversation, and it, replenishes some social energy. Reading is in here, voiceover practice. Drawing is in here. Cardio, I go for runs, that's in here. Cleaning my VR lenses is an individual, because it's not a huge thing, but it is something I tend to forget. With my sleep issues, I have a ticker for waking up early, and a negative side of that for all-nighters, but that I only tick that off if it's like, if I, out of like my somnophobia, if I consciously decided to go all night with it. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff in here. I'm not gonna go over the whole thing. But yeah, I'm really happy about it, and I recommend it. And one last thing I want to say, before switching over to you, is I was at first very averse to the idea of Habitica and apps like that, because I thought it kind of, at first I thought it undermined what, that it, that it risks undermining the troubles people sometimes have with these daily tasks in their life, to where it's like, oh, you need to candy code it, or you think I need to candy code it by making it into a game. You think that's my problem? No, it's much bigger than that. And then it's like, no, it's just you already have this, narrative in your head around these different activities. Maybe you're anxious. Maybe it's something that gives you, everything in your life that you do gives you some kind of response in your head. And whether it's a good or bad activity, or a productive or destructive activity, it can give you a positive or negative response in your mind. And this really just replaces the narrative. The RPG stuff is just a theming around points and meters that you could just appeal to regardless of the fact that it looks like a video game. You could decorate your character in it as well. I don't care as much about that. It is fun, but it's just that I keep track of the meter. And so it's like, even if I really don't feel it, I can appeal to that. And I'm very proud of this. And my sister helped to introduce me to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's good if it's working for you. My only hesitation with things like this is I've seen so many people try it and it just fucking fails very hard for them, because either they end up lying or they end up
Right.
demotivated by all of the bad things they're doing and then don't touch it without, giving it enough time to necessarily work as a new habit. Or, I mean, anything that's like trying to make habits going to be hard for a lot of people. Because
Yeah.
there's just a lot of brains that are averse to habits. I happen to be one of them. I have tried Habitica once upon a time. I barely remember anything about it because it failed so hard for me. It's also just like this cutesy little whatever thing, like you said before, is like, oh, do I really need a game to make me finally fucking take care of shit? But I did give it a go. It, from what I remember, like I said, I don't remember a lot. Didn't really work for me. What I do need to do, kind of adjacent to this, is I need to do my time tracking again. I have not kept up with my time tracking. I think time tracking was an amazing thing. I think it gives you the data you need to, like, in a very blunt, like, this is just data and you have to fucking face it kind of way
Yeah.
of the shit that you're doing. Like, when I first started, I didn't change any of my habits. I just tracked shit, and it what did I use? What was its name?
God, what kind of sweat did
Timery.
you break when you first? Yeah.
Yeah, I used Timery, and it gives you this pie chart of how much of your time was used on which things. A lot of it was fucking nothing. You don't realize how much time you waste until you see it in a pie chart, and it hurts. And I've definitely been wasting a lot of time, especially with my computer not back. Like, a thing that happened in the last season of the show. We're gonna call it a season now. In the last season of the
I'm
show,
cool with that.
I did the internet cleanse.
Right.
Which, to Pixel, I don't think you were watching at that point. I was getting rid of a lot of my use of YouTube. I was getting rid of TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, which I'm going to use Blue Sky a little bit more, even in this new phase of it. But my computer was gone for a long time. So, one, I didn't have my home archive of things to watch, because I do watch a lot of media, and that is the thing that I definitively want to do. Sorry, I'm burping in everyone's ears. The coffee's hitting me now.
I only hear your pre and post burps. I never hear the actual burp.
Well, I'm not explicitly it's just starting. But my home media is tied to my computer, and if I don't have my computer, I cannot access any of the shows that I have. So it was a lot of going back to YouTube a lot more. There's a lot of TikTok scrolling. And I need to stop that. I'm probably going to end up removing TikTok from my phone again. The only reason I'm hesitant is my partner loves to send me a million TikToks, and I don't want to not see it. I don't want to not have that. But in addition to going back to the internet cleanse, getting off social media more, deleting these apps that just suck time away with very little positive to come out of it, My TikTok's almost exclusively been Dragon Ball though, and I've been kind of liking that. Dragon Ball scrolling's been really fun. Doom
Hmm.
scrolling is extremely rough to get away from. That's why I have to like fully delete the apps because I'm not going to scroll
Oh
TikTok
God.
on my
Hmm.
computer. I'm not really going to scroll Twitter on my computer. That is definitely a you swipe on a phone kind of activity.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
especially bad for people who like don't have like who have like doom scrolling habits but also don't have another specific goal because most of the time I think a lot of the reason why it's like so easy for me to like because I mostly use YouTube Shorts. I don't have even TikTok installed. That algorithm never worked for me. But with YouTube Shorts, like I've gone for like an hour or two on there before and I'm like, "Oh god, I spent an hour or two on here." But now the reason that I can like limit it to like I don't know 5 to 10 shorts when I just like open it up maybe a couple times a day is oh yeah, I have specific other things that I like to do that are fulfilling and nourishing for me, and I know a lot of people don't have. I know you have that. I'm just saying that like a lot of people that's also a tough thing for them, and so it's like what are you gonna do besides like doom scroll, and I feel for that a lot.
yeah, I mean, for me, it's just the ADHD of like I don't even know how much time has passed. That's
Hmm.
why I kind of want to start time tracking again because it's just like a lot of things are just like I didn't even know I was doing it for that long until I look at the clock. Um, I mean, that's part of my ADHD. That's always going to be a part of me, but I need to get back into that. Want to do time tracking again. I suggest everybody do some time tracking. You don't get to time track every second of your day.
Sure.
That is probably not a positive thing. You don't need to, sleep track all, every day of the week, things like that. But if you want to be like, oh, hey, I want to start a timer when I'm like doing some work, or switch to a different timer if I'm like, oh, I need a break, and like you can see you're not even like necessarily thinking about how much time you're taking on the break, but like at the end of the week being like, hey, I spent a lot of time on break versus doing my work. That's something to look into, and that can spark some change
It's
that you don't
fast.
even know is
Yeah.
happening. Because I genuinely, before I did time tracking the first time, I thought I spent my time extremely well. And it was the most humbling experience. Um, see, I need to do that again.
It's fascinating to me that you mentioned time tracking in terms of like you consciously switch to another timer because I think this kind of highlights different methodologies and how they can be fitting for different types of people because that also sounds like it's going based on the honor system which it seems that both of our respective systems deeply rely upon. It's like you have to kind of know what you want and
Well,
kind of
yeah,
know
you
what
got
you're
to be
looking
truthful
for and
to yourself before
yeah,
you can do anything. But the
cuz
reason I don't
yeah,
necessarily
cuz
like
yeah,
Habitica is
sure.
it is a negative, to be honest, at times. And I think that is not necessarily a helpful thing.
Well, that depends on what kind of tickers you have because I have a ticker for moderated break. I also have a ticker for like so if I'm like just stagnant and stuff, like I just don't get as many points, but if it's like something that isn't actively hurting me and I consider like I don't know, like like let's say if I'm letting garbage pile up in the kitchen, that's like, oh, that is an actively damaging thing and so that's something that will hurt me more. But if it's just I'm taking a break for the whole amount of time that I'm supposed to be taking a break for, and I'm not really, thinking about it, then like that also gets a positive ticker. Even off time does that. And especially because once you get to level 10, you can pick a class. And like based on how you're best motivated personally, I picked healer, which it takes more to damage a healer, and so it's more forgiving, and it's bigger boosts for positive things. And so if someone has like a lot of trouble with it, and but like you're it just depends on how the dopamine balance works in your brain, which one you pick. But yeah, it's like you eventually start to notice how forgiving it can be in terms of like, oh, it hurts you much less than it benefits you when you know, take a break for a decent amount of time at the right time, and then also when you do something more traditionally productive, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, my big worry about things like Habitica is like, you said earlier, like, oh, junk food is a negative.
You can also
And
categorize it as a treat depending on how much, and that's just a reward you
well,
can
yeah,
redeem.
but like if you eat an entire bag of fucking chips,
Yeah, yeah.
like that should be a negative
Hmm.
for anybody. But if you're already having this kind of trouble being honest with yourself, having an extra incentive to like, oh well, I don't want to lose my health or whatever, I would find that very difficult to be honest with in a way that like, oh, as long as like I'm actively, time tracking and I want this, um it's not a negative to be like, oh yeah, I did, I started a break and I ended it whenever it was, and then at the end of the week I figure out if that was good or bad after it's
Fair.
already happened, after I've logged it. Because I don't think about it in the moment of just like, oh yeah, I know I've been taking too long of a break, but I'm not gonna stop. It's like, oh, if I think I'm having too long of a break and my timer's going up, I'm more inclined to switch to something.
I will
Um,
say, also related to that, this is a little funny thing, is because sometimes I'll futz with the tickers, um, like just after I complete a task, and sometimes I'll do it at the end of the day, kind of. And this also helps for like going back over your day, like keeping track of what you did day to day, and just going, what do I remember that I did that fits any of these? And so you could just like redeem points there. But sometimes what I'll do if I'm like I don't want to face the fact that I did something I'm not proud of or did something good for an amount of time I'm not proud of, um that like that'll then maybe like motivate me to, oh, what can I do, what like little bunch of things can I do that are actually like, maybe I can drink a bunch of water, and I can do XYZ other productive thing, draw a picture or whatever. And oh, okay, so at the same time as honestly redeeming this thing that I, or maybe like watching a YouTube video at a time of day when, because I want to designate that to a certain time of day. I forgot to mention that. um and it's a large swath, but it's like before that time, just, conventionally productive things. But yeah, it's like, oh, I'll be redeeming this honest thing that takes off of the health, but also just to remind you, put in a bunch of these other things as well, just at the same time. It's okay, things are going cool. And that sounds more frantic than I like. I'm playing it up for the sake of being funny here, but it does genuinely like cushion it a little bit, and it helps you to, because like before, I like the stuff that I'm not proud of would just linger in my head longer and stronger, and you know, this is a reason for me to more objectively look at it in a balanced way of maybe you consciously, yes, maybe you did a thing that you're not proud of, maybe a bunch of things, but also these things are not just like, oh, that's just what a normal person does and you can ignore it. It's like, no, you did a thing that's good for your life, even if it's small, and maybe you did a good handful of those things, so you have to focus on both. Yeah.
yeah, it would never work for me. I know I would
Fair.
100% either forget what I've done that day if I'm going at it at the end of the day. It needs to be a constant running time. I, as much as I said earlier, don't track every second of your day. If I don't
Right.
track every second of my day, I'm not tracking anything. Um, so for me, it doesn't work that way. But I know so many people would fucking give up because like it's not illuminating. It's not a good enough data set if you're tracking everything because it's
Yeah.
not focused. You're not. It's too much information to start with. Um, that being said, if you find yourself, not ending up tracking because you forget it's going on or whatever, one, I would have it up somewhere. I used to have it on my home screen on my phone, on my tablet, and my second monitor would have it. So it was everywhere. I would see it all the time. And two, is you just if you want to track everything, I guess. But I feel like once you put sleep in there, sleep time, you might be going a little bit too far for the beginning. You might just want to track like your work versus your rest.
Yeah, I think when I put in wake up early, that was when I'm like, damn, like, because I've started waking up going, like, based on what, like, I have the energy for right now. Is there any way I can, like, redeem some points for, like, just a little? Because people say, like, oh, make your bed at the start of the day, in order to have a little, a little dopamine boost so that you have more motivation for the rest of the day. And for me, that basically just turned into, what points can I redeem just so I can get a momentous ball, like a little momentum rolling? And
Yeah.
I was just like, wait, actually, I woke up at a really good time today. I would have ignored this and just been pissed off at a bad sleep time before, but it's like, what if I put in a ticker for this? And so also it matters, like, oh, hey, if you're keeping track of what you want to do with your time and your life, hey, if one ticker is not serving you, or actively disserving you in your goals, or if there's something you're not ticking that's that's the thing you should be, congratulating yourself a little bit for, you can add it at a moment's notice. And that's a big part of it as well. It's a very honor system based thing. And so, like, yeah, sure, obviously it wouldn't work for everybody, but it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it forces you to face it a certain amount.
Yeah. I would lie to fucking hell and back on that.
Yeah.
All right, what else do we have in the last few minutes of this show? You know what? Do we want, so we used to do launchpad questions. Do we want to do a wind down question?
Sure. I think that's fair.
What do we have here? Oh gosh, there's so many we have. Why do we still have that one? We did that one before. Does anyone poke out to you?
Well, I was gonna say to the audience, if you wanna contribute either, well, obviously immediate questions, but also launchpad questions for another time, then feel free to put them in the Discord server because we will not remember to save them in the YouTube chat.
Yeah, if you have any questions about what we've talked about right now, throw them in the chat. We'll try to get to them.
You know
we'll give
what?
that a few seconds.
I think this is a decently warm one because I think we can go with like a couple in case someone actually wants to throw one in the server. Because yeah, what are you starting to like more as you grow older? And this might have been something we already answered, but I feel like we'd even still have a different answer now.
Do you have an answer off the top of your head? I'm liking more.
I will say a couple things. Firstly, musicals, which almost doesn't count because I feel like I always did like them, but I thought they were
what the
too
fuck
cringy.
does that mean? You have loved musicals.
I liked one musical starting at the age of 7. And then especially because, like, a bunch of bouts of toxic masculinity in my younger years, it's like I would steer away from them, especially because I didn't want to be like, I was already seen as weird. I didn't want to be like, I call it cringy, but basically I didn't want to be cringy, I didn't want to be cheesy. But now it's like, oh, I guess it's not that I started to like it more, I'm just more like that I like it more. Also, just gonna say it, Twilight 1, 3, and 5.
I have no opinions on any of those.
Well, what about you?
Something that I like more as I grow older. I'm not sure. I've liked a lot of the same things. I mean, I guess coffee, but I feel like we've talked about that before. Enough.
No, give us the whole rundown again.
Okay, so I'm not doing it. You could probably find when I talked about it still saved on Twitch. I think it still saves the last few streams for a while. More as I grow older. Recently, like men. Not like cis men, sure. Though. Not really too into them. But,
yeah.
But like,
cis straight white man. Yeah.
Figuring out I'm pan in this year, new appreciation for things. Yeah, cis men.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross. Anyway.
Yucky. Oh.
I'm glad we're not saying this on Twitter, or we'll get banned for saying cis.
Oh yeah, I forgot cis is a slur over there.
We love
Yeah.
new slurs here.
Ashley.
Yeah,
I
no,
feel
I
like
don't know.
every
I've been
yeah.
fairly consistent in what I've liked. Oh, I can't wait for that to be taken out of context on episode 1. This is how we weed out the weaklings at the end of episode 1.
This is how we weed out the woke mob. We install cis man.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
trying to think of anything else, but no, not. Can't think of anything.
I think you've grown quite a bit. I mean, like, we could also throw it to the audience if you want. Just a quick
Pixel,
little thing.
answer the question.
Yeah, Pixel. Is there just literally one little thing that you have started to like more as you grow older? We will hold this whole thing
While
hostage
while
until you give
while
us
we're
even the
waiting,
smallest answer.
I think the last time we did a stream, or it might have been the time before that, like it's still no, we haven't done one. We haven't done a thought bubble since Halloween, or it was like the
Yeah.
couple
Oh
days
yeah.
after Halloween. So last time
It's
we did
Christmas
it,
now.
you didn't know, but I talked about it being Christmas. I joked about it, and then I started playing Christmas music on stream. And
Yeah.
you didn't know
Actually,
because you don't you don't
oh
see it.
my God! Wait, what? You started playing Christmas music on stream?
No, last time. Yeah, because
Oh,
you're
that's
just like, it's not
beautiful.
Christmas yet, and so I played Christmas music.
I
Without
I
saying a
could not have been the
word.
one who said it's not Christmas yet, unless I was being sarcastic.
It was
Because
before Halloween. You absolutely said that. You
oh, it
wanted
was
time
before
for
Halloween.
Halloween to breathe.
Oh, I see. Okay, I thought you meant it was like beginning in November you did that, and I'm like, no. But yeah, yeah, for me, for those who don't know, I have a bunch of categories of playlists on because I like playlist organization. It serves me well. But I also have just this entire folder in Spotify where it's most of the same playlists, but they have all the Christmas stuff that I like stuffed in there as well, because I don't want that all year. But for the last 2 months of the year, absolutely crank me up some Michael Bublé and fucking Burl Ives. Yeah.
It's been very shocking that Walmart radio has not been blasting Christmas music yet.
Have you heard even one Mariah Carey?
I don't think so. Pixel says, I think I've
Really?
slowly grown more to appreciate / enjoy the silence of nature, which sounds super
Yeah,
goofy. I don't think it sounds goofy. But as
that's not
somebody who
goofy at
rarely
all.
goes outside, I like to find some days to listen to the cicadas. Okay, well, maybe the cicadas are a bit much, but I wouldn't
No,
do
I
the
feel you.
cicadas.
I feel you
But
on that. No,
I do
it
enjoy nature
depends on the amount.
sounds.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I
I
definitely.
do live in the fucking south. The cicadas are much worse. We have so many.
Oh, there's two things related to this that I there's two things related to this that I. Oh God, I used to hate thunderstorms when I was a kid. I love thunderstorms now. But yeah, the sounds of nature, the sounds and just like yeah, absorbing nature is just like nice to just be one with the world around you in that way, especially if you're walking with somebody
Yeah, you
and like
gotta
you
get
just
in the
get to
mud.
chat. It get in the mud,
You
get your
gotta
knees in the
roll around in the
mud,
mud. Eat a little
and
bit
dig
of
your own
it.
grave.
Gotta get it
But
in
yeah,
you.
I also like here's another thing we've talked about this sometimes. I like excuse me having like a not an like without this having to be awkward with while still opening up the opportunity for conversation of any kind. I like a good silent walk with someone I love, family member, a friend, a partner, in nature or anywhere really, but especially nature. Yeah. And I like running more now too. Yeah, related to nature. I went to see my mom in Oregon, and this is Pixelate. I went to see my mom in Oregon, and just like I don't know, it was so profound to be out there in the quiet and nature. It was so peaceful. Yeah, we are
Yeah.
evolutionarily
It's like we
inclined
come
for it.
from it.
Yeah,
We're
we
evolutionary inclined to eat the dirt.
to eat dirt. You gotta go outside, eat a dirt pudding.
Get that shit in you.
You gotta brush your teeth with sand.
You got to eat a little bit of the trees to really
You
get
gotta
a true
chew glass.
appreciation. Don't do
Yeah.
that one. Glass is man-made.
Classic. Well, yeah, it's just less man-made. Whoa. Wait. Okay, because there's got to be parts of the world where like sand just kind of ended up in the same spot as something hot enough to turn it into glass.
There aren't worms in your hands in the end, you're not living. Yeah, if they're not crawling
think
around
last
in your
time
insides.
I think last time I had a worm in my hand, I was like 8 or 9. The last time I saw a worm was in How to Eat Fried Worms. I don't recommend that being the last place you see a worm.
Don't recommend that being the last thing you ever see.
Yeah, just you're in the microwave like the worm. Yeah. Don't put your head in the microwave, guys.
Yeah, we don't recommend it. 9 out of 10 doctors recommend not putting your head in the microwave.
Though okay, so I will say though about that.
We are not going to be promoting.
No, you're not. We're not promoting this, but I am saying you have to specifically. You have to go out of your way to reprogram your microwave a little bit in order for like you to actually be able to put your head inside while it's running.
You know,
Like,
it's not that difficult. You just stick a
is it not?
little, because I don't know the actual mechanics, but I presume that like the little handles that keep it closed just like push a lever. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this anyway.
Whether to me or on stream, don't give me ideas.
Yeah, I'll have to get a new co-host.
Just this is how the last one went out. I have to regenerate every single season. Yeah,
Always
just
loved
after getting
outside
older.
/ nature. Just after
Yeah.
getting older and with work, I never went outside to enjoy it anymore, and now I'm trying to find the time to do so, even just a few minutes. Absolutely, especially like right now, I feel is like the perfect temperature to be outside for a long period of time.
Oh yeah, autumn, best season in the world.
Look, we don't need to get into this argument again. Anyway,
Yes, I'm gonna stand there, and we're all gonna. Pixel Latte has my back.
I can mute you at any moment. This is my stream. There you go. You're not going anywhere. Okay, you have regained your right to speech.
I forgot that I lost it.
You got to keep up with your rights, man. They're getting taken away one by one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you gotta go out and vote to decide whether we can talk, and that's not a joke.
Yeah, I'll make a poll right now. Start
Can
a
we
poll.
talk? That's the moment we go dead fucking silent.
There's the. Can we talk? Answer. Yes. Damn it. That means we can't stop the stream yet. 50%.
So it's a 50-50. I voted no.
You voted no.
I thought I had some like.
You're like a queer man voting for Trump right now.
I gotta go home and tell my male partner that I just voted for Donald Philip Trump.
Exactly. You text them right now.
No, I'm not doing that. Especially because they, depending on what day it is, they might have just woken up. He is he's a sleepy boy around 1:30 when he can be. Yeah.
An amazing thing to wake up to.
The man I love.
I voted for
Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Jalapeno Trump.
That's what it stands for.
Hey, I'm not.
Well,
American.
we've said his
What?
name enough now that we're gonna get suggested to the Republicans.
Oh, fuck you! No. Oh. And we're on YouTube now. It's not even just that it's to listen for us. This is just the pit we're sitting. No, it's just gonna be you because it doesn't know I'm talking. This has nothing to do with my YouTube channel.
Game over.
Game over, man.
So before
I
we
have a fun
close
topic
out,
next
because
week.
we're getting on the precipice of ending. Pixel, how has the YouTube live experience been? I know I don't think you were there for any of our Twitch ones, but I presume
Every
you
time
know
someone
Twitch.
says every time someone says YouTube Live, I think of that one thing with the fucking like periscope cameras and like Katy Perry,
Oh my
the
gosh.
vlog squad.
You know what? While I'm waiting for an answer, it's been great. Yeah, I think this is my first one. Yeah.
Do
One
you?
thing I want. So,
Yeah.
social media. We were kind of like getting on that for a second.
Sure.
Blue Sky, great. I have one. Go follow me. Go. Excuse me, mrsashley.gay, my website. Go to it. Follow me on Blue Sky. I think on Blue Sky I'm at mrsashley.blue. Because you can just have the .blue domain name. It's great. Um, and I love it. Blue Sky's been very good. It's been growing a lot since the election.
Now over
As
20 million
people,
people apparently. I just opened up Blue Sky to check what my tag is, but just someone said Blue Sky now is over 20 million people
yeah,
per day
um,
for the last few days. Yeah.
yeah, it's been growing substantially. One thing I want that Twitter had once upon a time and they got rid of was Twitter Circles. Do you remember this feature?
So vaguely.
So Twitter Circles were you could choose a few people to be in your circle and you could tweet exclusively to your circle. So it'd be like you would have a private account without having to make a new account, essentially.
Okay.
And I really liked that, especially for just like fleeting things that like you don't necessarily want everybody to see, but you want it to be out there in some capacity. Yeah, that
If
does
I'm
feel
gonna
like
do that, I'm
forever
just gonna go
ago.
to Discord. Like
Well, yeah, but like not
that's my
everybody's in a Discord with you, so you just like, oh, hey,
fair.
everyone's on. Especially when Twitter was good, like everyone's on Twitter. I'll just tweet to this specific group of people, or like you don't have to post, slightly more private things on a private account. You can still post on your main account, and you don't have to juggle all these passwords. It was nice.
Mhm.
I enjoyed it, and Blue Sky needs it. Blue Sky needs a
Also,
lot, but
I don't know if you. This is a thing that Blue Sky has that I'm almost positive Twitter didn't have. Um, do you know about starter packs? Because I just looked at my own page to check my tag, and I found the thing that says starter packs. I'm like, what? Yeah, it says
yeah.
starter
So
packs let you
starter
easily
packs.
share your favorite feeds and people with your friends. So it's like, hey, if like I haven't created one, but if like someone you're following who uses Blue Sky more often, which I intend to, is like, hey, they have people that like they think you might like that you want to follow. You just go to starter pack.
Yeah, it's great. It's been helping a lot of people who like the worst part of getting onto Blue Sky is transitioning all of your follows. And so that
Mhm.
kind of helps people get in a little easier where you don't need to like fish out for these cool people. Um Absolutely fucking love Blue Sky. I'm like
Yeah. Also,
popping into it right now.
my Blue Sky is at mysterysteve.busky.social.
I can't believe your handle has Bussy in it.
I I am I really the last person that you would expect Bussy in the handle?
You need to get a domain so you could be like official. That's also a cool thing about Blue Sky is like if you have a website, you can essentially verify yourself by using your website.
It like I do want to say though, I like that while that does look better and it functions better as well probably. I do like that it's like, hey, a lot of people just stick with the easier one, and so it's like, oh, people will get more used to, like people will get more used to than they are now typing just .bsky.social. It's not the best thing, but it's like it's pretty common. And
Well, no,
so
I don't think it's
yeah,
for visibility or anything. It's for like making it you, making sure you are you.
sure.
I'll plug it into the improvvr.co.uk.
Yeah. Just yeah, I am going to add one for improv VR, especially because that's like it's a very recently, sorry, for those who don't know, improv VR is the group under which I host a bunch of my improv comedy events in VR. And yeah, I only as of recently stopped tweeting with it because I'm like, there's like still good people on Twitter, but I don't trust that algorithm to show this to people who I want to be there. I yeah, so yeah, I'm probably gonna be shifting that over to Blue Sky, which I intended to do a long time ago anyway. It's just I stepped away from Blue Sky a bunch because I just got out of my Twittery habit, like once I stopped wanting to use Twitter. But now it's like, oh, right. I like looking at Blue Sky, I remember what I liked so much about Twitter, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, like, well, obviously there's more and more people coming in, so the culture is going to get a little bit more shitty because it's a lot of like, even the Republicans don't want to be around the Republicans on Twitter, so they're coming to Blue Sky.
I'm liking art right now.
A lot of people that I've seen on Blue Sky have been trying to cultivate this culture of like, hey, don't dunk on people, just block them and move on. And that's what we need to
Yeah.
continue doing on Blue Sky. And that's how
Yeah.
you
And
keep a good culture happening.
just a thing about like towards bigotry in general. I don't know if I've specifically noted this here, but because obviously, like when you face a bigot, like someone who's just this far right, whatever the fuck, um, the temptation is to like go off on them or completely ignore them. Uh, Things got a lot easier for me in the realm of like being around a bigot when I learned that and this is not universal. Don't expect this to always work. It's just been the most consistent thing I've found. If you just seem like someone who's like not freaking out over what they said, but also like you're a completely normal, rational person who is still like, what are you talking about? I am so confused and frankly alarmed by what you just said, but I'm not gonna go off on you about it because I'm more secure than that. But like, it's like basically because the temptation is to leap on bigotry. And that's a justified temptation, but it's like that just makes them more angry. But if you're looking at them like they just said something where they're out of their fucking mind, like because bigots want you to normalize what they're saying. They want you to make them they want you to either rile them up more to feel more justified in their passion, or they want to just be left to look like that is a normal thing to say. So if you just make them look like the fucking weirdo they are, and just give them this "are you out of your mind" look on your face, as if they just asked you to punch an old dude across the street, kind of thing. Yeah.
You see, I would have agreed with you necessarily before the election. I think the election has changed a
Yeah.
lot of that. I think we just need to ignore them into obscurity because any spreading of the message is a spreading of the message. Even if you're like,
Mhm.
this is a stupid message, because some people are stupid and are going to get, wound up in it anyway, even if you are saying it's stupid. So I'm very
Well, I'm
much,
not even saying just saying anything. I'm even just like it can be limited to just giving them a look of what the fuck are you talking about. But no, I get what you mean.
well, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, if you're in a physical place with them,
Yeah.
but I'm talking about on the internet.
Sure.
Just
Yeah, on the
don't
internet,
fucking
fine
interact.
people. You're
Yeah,
not
just
gonna
don't
change
interact. Don't
anything.
spread it.
Yeah.
Just leave it as it is. Um. Anyway, I think that's our show.
Yeah, best wishes, folks. I really like this new environment. I do like it better than the experience. Yeah.
There's our poll is complete. It's a 50-50 toss up if we can talk.
This now, if it was down to 51%, that'd be on the no side, and that would mean, ooh, we're repeating history, recent history.
Yeah, I think yes wins the popular vote, but because of the electoral college.
Well, that was a handful of years ago. Now it's much more alarming.
Thank you for coming along, Pixel, and chatting with
Yeah.
us.
Wait, actually, sorry. One very last thing, Pixel.
Uh-huh.
I I don't know if you go by like a different name where we usually know you. Do you already know either of us from something that does look like an alt space-esque avatar?
No, Pixel
From
is a friend of my partner.
Oh, okay. Because that's what I thought that avatar was. Because I only see like a little fucking like 10 pixel size version of it. It looked vaguely alt spacey. Okay, so yeah, it's good seeing you. We hope to see you in the future, and I hope you had fun.
Bye-bye. Oh, wait, before we go, one more
Lovely.
time.
Okay.
Before we go. Next week is US Thanksgiving. we're doing this on Tuesday?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. We're doing this on
Yeah,
Tuesday next week.
yeah, because sorry, I was just like calculating in my brain. Oh, right, this is an early afternoon show, not a late evening show. So I'll be doing on the same day then, this and then Improvatars. Not gonna be a hassle, just I gotta keep an eye on that.
We'll see you then.
Best wishes.